So I hope you're getting my screen and as well as my voice. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. So before going for discussion, right? Actually, maybe I may have power cut. So if that is the thing, so immediately I'm trying to connect with mobile net. Okay. So just wait for some 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, that's it. Okay, that is the only small information. So yesterday, so we're discussing about basically PowerShell, right? Actually, the thing is, if you observe this specific program, so whatever the input which are providing, whether irrespective of data type, right? So it is taking and it is giving some output as well. But our intention is, so basically, if you observe this program, age. So age is, as you know already, it is a numeric format. There is no chance of having some string format, right? So compulsory it should take only numeric. So in order to overcome this limitation, so we discussed about some concept called as the data types. So most of you already are familiar with this data types concept here, right? So just the above program just I have modified. This is the thing which just I have modified. That's it. Apart from that, nothing I have done basically. Okay. So then, if you once if you implemented this int type, or once if you whatever the variable which I have defined before that variable, if you add some data type, right? So then, basically this piece of code it will take only numeric basically. Okay. So then we discussed about some while loop. Okay, so just it will iterate continuously based upon the condition till this condition is failed, so it is going to iterate. So these things we discussed on yesterday. So then we discussed about just some information related to Terraform basically. Okay, so first of all, this Terraform is also from HashiCrop. So initially we discussed about Packer software, right? So Packer is also from HashiCrop basically, if you observe. So same thing just we discussed in Packer point of view, but here Terraform is also a new product or a new software from the same organization, HashiCorp basically. Okay, so Azure, if you want to implement, or this is a third-party product or third-party software, right? So if you want to integrate the software with the Azure cloud or maybe some AWS, so within this Azure and AWS, they're having a some separate concepts like ARM templates or cloud formation from the AWS. So even you, if you observe this ARM templates, so nothing but it is a predefined JSON code. So based upon that your requirement, just you need to modify that respect to specific JSON code, right? So then once if you done the necessary changes, so you can copy this piece of code or you can upload this piece of code inside of Azure cloud. So where we need to upload these, all these things we discussed already. So then it is trying to create some storage accounts, right? So same way here also we're having some piece of code is there, but irrespective of JSON, so some code is related to some HashiCorp language basically, right? So it looks almost similar to JSON, but it is not in JSON, what I mean to say. Okay, so that code just we need to modify based upon your requirement, right? So then you can how can we communicate this Terraform code? Otherwise we can say that, so as I mentioned, it is an HashiCorp language. So how can we how this interaction is going to be happen? Because Terraform is a third party software and Azure cloud is a third party, it is a completely from Microsoft, right? So in between these two softwares, or in between this Azure and Terraform, we need to establish some communication. So how this communication is going to be happen? How we need to establish the communication between these two things? So that things today we're going to discuss basically. Okay. So yesterday I had given some information about. So we need to gather some information related to some client ID, subscription ID, or maybe some tenant ID. So once if you provide these IDs, so just whenever this Terraform is going on, basically whenever the Terraform software is executed, right? Or here we're having some predefined commands is there. So if you want to go with some Terraform, so whenever if you enter some command, basically, right? So Terraform first of all it's going to recognize these credentials. Credentials means not username password. Here credentials means my point of view, client ID, subscription ID, secret ID, or maybe some tenant ID. So what are the different we're having IDs? So these all IDs just is going to recognize whether this user is having a valid Azure cloud account or not. These all these things it is going to check it by Terraform software here, basically. Okay. So then we discussed about some advantages. So it is easy to understand. It runs in multiple platforms, dry run directly showing the error, or easily you can understand the code as well, right? So disadvantages. So as I mentioned you, this Terraform is a new product from HashiCorp. Just there in initial development or initial phase, right? So we're having only some services. So I mean, let us assume I want to create some resource group or maybe some mutual network sub network. So till now if you observe these services, some services we can create in n number of ways. Basically if you observe initial clauses, so just we're doing some graphical user interface. So then we discussed about some bash shell, right? Then we discussed about some maybe some ARM templates, or by using some ARM templates even we have created some storage accounts. So and even by using some PowerShell also we can create some resource group, these all this. So we're having some n number of ways basically. Okay. So any one way or maybe some 2 to 3 ways can be utilized by any of these whatever the software companies which are having. It depends basically. Okay. Some companies maybe if their the projects is old, let us assume projects is on PowerShell, right? So definitely they need to create some resource group, these all these things means they need to use only PowerShell. There is not, we don't have any other option. But if you are using some, if you are developing some new product or new what are the new innovation idea which you are having, so that idea just for implementing on a product application, or if you're developing some product basically. So then because as you're developing a product from the scratch, so everything you can go the latest cutting edge technologies. So nowadays if you observe this programming point of view, Python is booming, right? And cloud point of view you can go for either Azure or AWS, or maybe if you're having some if you want to perform some analytics, so you can go with maybe some machine learning, artificial intelligence, or maybe some data science. So these all technologies you can integrate based upon your architecture or based upon your client requirement. So it depends on n number of things basically, what I mean to say, right? So like that, what I mean to say. So like that here Terraform is also a one more software, so where you can create some services within this Azure cloud. That is our main intention. Okay. So how to create this all these things, so today we're going to discuss here basically. Okay. So yesterday I've explained you some code, right? Basically yesterday I have explained you some piece of code. If you go to Google and create VM using Terraform. So this is a HashiCorp configuration language, some language which is by from HashiCorp, right? So this piece of code just I have explained you on yesterday. So today we can go with some practical basically. Okay. So first we require Terraform software. So type some Terraform download. Go to this HashiCorp or terraform.io, okay, which is a sub website of HashiCorp. See here HashiCorp logo is there, right? So which is from HashiCorp again. So here we're having, it falls under as you know, any softwares, what are the softwares which you are using, it falls under different operating system. So basically we are going with some 64-bit Windows, right? So go with the Windows operating system. So go to the specific folder. So first of all, try to create Terraform. So copy this jar file, sorry, copy this zip file here and right click here, uh, extract here. So you can delete this zip file. So this is a Terraform software. Okay. as I mentioned you in our previous session in the Packer point of view as well, Packer software. So here, one advantage from HashiCrop is, so generally, if you want to, let us assume, so you want some media player in your respective system. Generally, what we are doing, so we are going to Google and we are downloading some software and we are extracting and we are installing and we are going to get some different pop-ups. So just we need to click on next and finally we are going to install the same, right? So these things generally we are doing. But in HashiCrop softwares, so just you can download it, that's it. So we don't have any separate installation of these respective softwares. So system already, what are the systems which are using or what are the different operating systems which are utilizing, so that all the operating systems is going to recognize this HashiCrop related softwares or products whenever we are downloading the same, basically. Okay, so here we don't have any separate installation. So first of all, open this Visual Studio. So yesterday, this is the piece of code just which I have explained you, right? Basically. So here our major thing is, as I mentioned you, this provider stack. So we need to, in this provider stacks, what we're doing, so nothing but just we are establishing the communication between Terraform and as well as Azure Cloud. Okay, so by providing some client ID, subscription ID, secret ID or tenant ID basically. Okay, so how to get these things? Go to here, we require one is client ID and subscription ID, secret ID, tenant ID. So like this. So go to this portal.azure.com. So go to here and go to Azure Add to Directory. Go to app registrations. Otherwise, go to cost management billing. Click on cost management. Click on access control. Why it is not showing? Otherwise, go to your subscription ID, go to access control IAM. No, overview. We are not getting client ID. Give me 1 minute. So here, anyway, we're having some subscription ID. Okay, uh, but we require some client ID, secret ID, and as well as tenant ID. Here, if you observe, we're having some tenant ID as well. So this thing also you can copy. But we don't have this client ID, and one more thing is uh, secret ID basically. So we're having some subscription ID and tenant ID. Okay, and even whenever if you're trying to create some Azure cloud account, whether it is a free trial or a paid version, so basically you're going to get it this what we call subscription ID and tenant ID by default. You're going to get some unique subscription ID and unique tenant ID as well. Okay, but we don't have this client ID and secret ID. So for this, go to app registrations, click on new registration. So provide some name, maybe I am providing some TerraForm. Okay, click on register. Okay, so once if you register, so here also it is displaying some nothing but this is a tenant ID, right, and this is a client ID, but we need to have a one more thing called as a secret ID, right? So first of all, let us copy this one, copy client ID, and this is tenant ID, and this is subscription ID. And here we need to get a one more thing called as a secret ID, right, basically. So go to certificates and secrets. Okay, so we need to click on new client secret, basically new client secret. Okay, so you can provide maybe TerraForm secret, something like this. Click on add. So copy this one and you can paste it here. Okay, these are nothing but a secret ID. So here we're having some client ID and tenant ID. If you observe previously, we're having only tenant ID. Okay, but whenever if you go to this registration apps registration, right? So whenever if you're trying to create some new registration, you're going to get some client ID here basically. Okay. Otherwise, go to once again Azure add to directory. Here we're having some app registrations. Whenever if you click on new registration, right, so you can provide some name. So once if you provide some name, you're going to get some see here initially we have created some Terraform. This is the Terraform. whatever the name which I given, the same thing it will be applied here. It is going to display here. So this is our client ID basically. Okay. So you need to remember this apps registration option. Okay. So you can check all applications or owned applications. So, and even if you want, you can delete these things as well. So if you click on it, you can delete if you want to delete. And here once again, that whatever the deleted, so let us assume I deleted this terraform, right? So this will be appeared in deleted applications. So in deleted applications also, once again if you delete, so completely this whatever the terraform which I have created as a registration id, it will delete it permanently from your Azure cloud account. Okay. And one more thing is, so here, let us assume you already created some resource group, maybe rich network, sub network, maybe some line expression, these all these things. Okay, let us assume. So whenever if you're trying to delete some resource group, all these virtual network, sub network, or maybe some virtual machine, these all these things it will be deleted automatically. As you know, these all these things. But here, whatever these registrations, so let us assume in our upcoming classes we are trying to create some IDs. So here just we have created some client ID. So like that we are trying to create some more things in our upcoming classes. So these things it will not delete automatically. Okay, these things it will not delete automatically. So before deleting the resource group, right, so try to go to this what we call cost management billing, or maybe some Azure active directory, right, and go to apps registrations, check it here. So do you have any registrations or not? If you're having some registrations, right, so try to delete the same basically. So that thing you need to observe. So it is, maybe Microsoft will charge the amount or not, there is a secondary, but try to delete these things. Okay, whether it is a free trial or a paid version, so try to delete these registrations as well basically. Okay. So finally we have got these IDs basically. So these IDs where we are providing here, as I mentioned you, inside of providers tab, so that this terraform is going to recognize it is a whether it is a valid Azure cloud account or not by providing these four IDs basically. Okay. So here what I'm doing is, so just already I have that file, just I'm pasting in this terraform folder. Just otherwise just try to open this one, go to desktop, go to terraform, open main.tf. Okay, so here if you observe, so these IDs I have provided here. Okay, mostly it may be same, but may not. Client secret and client ID, tenant ID. Okay, all are different only. Okay, first copy this client ID, paste it here. This client ID, client secret, so it always be different basically whenever if you're trying to create app registrations. Tenant ID, and subscription ID. Okay, just save it. So here I am not changing this what we call changing this resource group. Just I'm giving some my resource group name or my vnet, right, my subnet. So these things I'm not changing. So just input whatever this Terraform is already providing some default names, right, like this my resource group, my vnet, my subnet. So these things only I'm providing, nothing I'm changing as of now. Okay, but here you need to change it. Where see here computer name I have given my Linux machine name as a my VM. So Azure user, admin user, Azure user. So here if you want you can provide some name, maybe some Shiva one. Here also Shiva one. Okay, here we need to generate this key. Basically I think it is somewhat lengthy. So we need to generate this SSH key, so our public key. So how can we generate here? By using putty generator. Go to putty gen, click on generate. So sometimes it will take time. Maybe if anybody is having some doubts, so you can ask me.
కర్సర్ మూవ్ చేస్తే తొందరగా జనరేట్
Hmm. Okay.
కర్సర్ మూవ్
Okay. So it is generated, right? So try to copy this one. Copy and paste it here. Control V. Save. And you can save it as a private key into desktop. Maybe some my VM SSH key. Click on save. Okay. So once these things is done, right, go to this Terraform folder and go to this location, type cmd here. So you can cross check it whether this Terraform is installed or not. Okay, so by using a predefined command, that is Terraform version. Just click on enter. See here, So this is the current version which I have downloaded from the Terraform. Okay, and it is on Windows AMD 64, nothing but a 64-bit operating system. Okay, so means Terraform is installed successfully. So once these things is done, so here as I mentioned you, sorry, here within this .tf file, nothing but this Terraform, right? So within this we already mentioned this resource group name, virtual network, subnetwork, Linux machine name, or even we have provided some username, and authentication is SSH key, right? And it can cross check whether this it is valid Azure cloud account or not. All these things it is going to check by Terraform, but we need to tell to the Terraform try to execute this main.tf file. So for that we're having some predefined commands. So that is, first one is terraform init. Terraform init. So just type some terraform, and after that in it, just it is going to initialize. In mean just it is going to initialize. Okay, just click on enter. See here, if you observe this green lines, terraform has been successfully initialized, right? And now you may now be working with the terraform. Try running terraform plan, means that is the next command it is telling us. Okay, so terraform plan. So to see any changes that required for your infrastructure, all terraform commands should now work. Okay, so just by using this terraform in, now terraform is ready to work on the whatever the changes or whatever the piece of code which you have done basically till now. Okay, that is the meaning. So this is nothing but if you forget something, that is the thing basically. But this thing is this piece of lines are very important. Okay, so as it mentioned terraform plan means now we are going to plan the infrastructures. I mean infrastructure means some services inside of Azure cloud. We already given this resource group, these all these things, right? Within that respect to HashiCorp configuration language, or even this we can call as a .tf file, means tf means that means terraform basically. So just you can go with the terraform plan. So enter plan. Something is done. Unable to list provider registration status. It is possible that this is due to invalid credentials, or a service principal does not have permission to use this resource manager. Azure resource providers client. Status code 403. Azure service returned. Status 403. Azure failed. It is not accepting the client ID. What is the client ID starting? 45955. What is 45955? We did not provide it. Does not have. already saved this file, right? Basically, it is not recognizing this client ID. Okay. So here the thing is, we have created some what we call some registration ID, right? So for this, go to home.
Access.
Sorry,
You need to give access control for this one.
access control.
Yes.
This one.
Yes.
Yes, that thing only I'm providing. Okay. Click on add role assignment. So go to contributor. Click on next and click on select members. Here type the whatever the registration name which you have provided, Terraform, right? Click on select, click on next, review plus assign. So it is assigned now. Go to role assignments, 11 Terraform. Okay. Now try to execute this command once again. See here. So what are this piece of code which you're having? So it is going to analyze all these things. Whether let us assume if you are not providing some these braces, right? Or if something is mismatched, these all these things it is going to cross check in the Terraform plan command basically. Okay. So if you observe completely at the end, it is going to mention, right? So nothing, everything is fine. Note, you did not use out option to save this plan, so Terraform cannot guarantee to do exactly these actions. If you want to run, I mean, so this is the next command, Terraform apply. So you no need to remember this all this command. So just you can type some Terraform in it. If you want to, you can remember this Terraform int, right? So then this, it is going to provide the sequence of commands automatically. Okay. So here this is the information means. So if you want to print something, right, within this prompt, let us assume so everything is successful, some message, right? So you can go with that. That is a message it is saying here basically. Okay. So then you can go with this Terraform apply, type some Terraform apply. So here whatever the piece of code is already analyzed by Terraform, these all these things it is going to be created inside of Azure Cloud Account. Click on enter. So type S. These applications are discussed in somewhere for you. Hello,
Packer.
Packer. Okay. If you observe, apply complete, right? So resource 11 added, 0 change and 0 destroyed outputs. Okay. So now if you go to here, go to home. So see here my resource group and go to virtual networks, my VNet, and go to subnets. This is the respective subnets. Go to virtual machines. This is my VM. right? Current status is it is running already. So now if you want to, and one more thing is, go to virtual machine once again, click on it. So this ports is also already they have mentioned in this piece of code, right? So that is the reason we no need to provide any separate inbound port rule or a security rule. Okay. So now try to go to putty, go to our view, copy this IP address, paste it here, go to SSH, click on authenticate, click on browse, provide this specific file, whatever the key which I have saved already. Click on open once again. Click on asset. What is your username which I given? Shiva1, right? Sudo su hyphen. So if you want to install this in Nginx, what is the command here? Sudo apt update apt install Nginx hyphen y, right? So now if you copy this IP address and paste it here. So why we are not getting here, any of you? So here if you observe, by using this terraform and by using this predefined commands, finally we are able to create resource group, rich network, subnetwork, and VMs on this public IP, this all these things, right? And even we have logged into this respect to virtual machine. I mean Linux virtual machine. That is nothing but a MyVM, and we have installed this Nginx server software as well, right? I mean Nginx server also we have installed. So whenever if you copy paste this public IP address here, as you observe in our previous classes, basically we need to get some welcome to Nginx. So but here we are not getting. What is the reason? Any of you?
Security groups.
Security groups. Okay.
We need to give the permission. We need to give the permission inbound.
We need to provide the HTTP port, right? Port for HTTP, yellow HTTP port. Click on add. So it is created. Click on refresh once again. So here we're having some welcome to Nginx, right? So here also we have created some resources within this Azure cloud. So, but by using some Terraform software. Okay. So basically, what are the predefined commands here? Terraform version. So just if you want to cross check whether Terraform is installed or not in your respective operating system. So then Terraform space int, then Terraform space plan, then Terraform space apply. Okay. So any doubts, any of you? Is it fine these things? Any doubts? So now here a little bit modification we are doing basically. So that is uh, see here, and here if you observe whenever if you're trying to execute these commands, so basically we're having only these two files, right? But it is trying to create .terraform, right? Nothing but providers. So within this providers registration hash crop whoever the provided, right? So here if you observe in the providers tag we have given all these things, right? So this client it is all this and it is checking and this terraform log file, and it is going to create some terraform tf.state file, nothing but the version, what is the current version it is included within this file. Okay, so latest version is 2.0, but which version we have downloaded 1.011. Okay, this is a what we can say that this is a stable version from terraform. Okay, currently which are utilizing with the companies as well, right? So and this we have given some what we call, this is a inbuilt security which is provided by terraform. Okay, value, this is a encrypted form basically, right? And this is a piece of code which I have included. So these all these things it is generated here, but which we are not able to understand each and everything. Okay, so it is inbuilt. So basically if you observe whenever if you are trying to create some resource group inside of Azure cloud, right? Backend is all these things it is going to created by Microsoft servers or Microsoft organization. So which inbuilt there written so much of code, but it is taking so much, it is not taking that much of amount time. It is this all these things it is going to created at backend. We don't know what is going on at backend, right? But here also same thing it is done by Terraform, not by Microsoft. Okay, these all these things basically. Close this one, and here we are having these files as well, this terraform dot tf dot vars or variables dot tf. So what these things is, so let us assume I don't want to disturb this file. Okay, so even this if you observe this client id or client secret, so even though this tenant id subscription id is same, right? I mean whenever if you're trying to practice n number of times, this mostly it will be same, but these things it is going to change randomly or dynamically, right? So just I don't want to disturb this existing code, so just I want to modify these things in a separate file, right? So then we can go with this before that. Basically here what we are doing, if you want to delete these things, I mean virtual machines, virtual resource group, just we are trying to delete the resource group so that this virtual machine virtual entity is going to be deleted, right? So instead of that what we can do is, so go to here, Terraform destroy. Click on enter. Means whatever the services which is created by Terraform, all the services it is going to be deleted automatically. Nothing but there is for Terraform destroy. Enter the value. Yes. So now it is destroyed, right? So go to here. It will take some time to reflect sometimes. So go to virtual networks. So here we don't have. Go to virtual machines. So we don't have. Go to resource groups. So we do have network watcher RG because network watcher RG is not a I mean, we did not mention any service within this .tf file, right? So whenever if you are trying to create this virtual machines, right? So it is trying to create a one more resource group with the default name as a network watcher RG. This name is a constant basically, what I mean to say. Okay, so if you want to delete this thing, so as you know, so we need to delete explicitly. Okay, delete. So now we can go with this. First go with this main.tf. So what is the change here basically? Okay, the change is previously we have given this id client id in a double quotes, right? So but here now where dot client id, that is the one change. So where dot client secret or where dot tenant id, where dot subscription id. So these things where we are providing is in this specific file. Okay, I mean, go to this variables.tf. So here variable client id, variable client secret, tenant id, subscription id, even resource group also if you want to modify you can modify. Okay, so we are not providing any resource group name here. See here, name I have given as a var.resource group name. So same thing for ritual network. So if you want to provide some ritual network name, so without disturbing the existing code, so you can mention these things in this variables.tf. So still, if you observe this variables.tf, we are not provided any values, client ID value or tenant ID value, subscription ID is also having some value. That values we are not provided here. Just we are mentioning this all these variables within this variables.tf. So where we are mentioning these values here, so here we are going to mention basically, if you go to here, see here client id, some value were provided, right? Client secret we have provided some value, tenant id, subscription id, resource group name we are given some Azure test. Okay, so now how this execution is going on, it will go to this provider stack. So within this it is going to check where dot client id, right? So here we have given some client id, so it is going to cross check whether it is matching with this ids, these variable names or not. These all these things it is going to check it by Terraform inbuilt. So these variable names, I mean client underscore secret we have given, so here also it should be client underscore secret. So if you are mismatching these variable names, so it will not accept, right? But after that, so client id, after that we are providing some braces, right? So these things it is going to check it in terraforms.tf.vars. So it is going to check this client id values, client secret, tenant id, resource group, all these values it is going to check in terraform.tf.vars files here. Okay, terraform.tf var files. So in variables, just you are providing some variables. In terraform.tf var we are providing the variable values, I mean client id value or tenant id value, resource group name value. These are all these things we are mentioning here basically. And here we're having a one more file called as an output.tfs. So just open this one. So here we are mentioning some message. So here we are not mentioning any message, right? Here if you want to mention some message, we can go with this outputs.tf. Okay, so description, so resource group name. So what is the resource group name? So it is going with the value, so Azure resource group dot my terraform group dot name. So it will go to Azure resource group, right? My terraform group. After that, what is going dot name. So here, what is our name? Nothing but var dot resource group name. Here again, this resource group name is go to here. This is our resource group name, and within this resource group name, what is the name? Azure test. So now it is going to uh, mention some value as an Azure test. So resource group name is Azure test. So like that is going to validate all these things here. Okay, so any doubts in these four files, any of you? Is it fine? any doubts? This change you have observed, right? So here what we are doing, and here in this file what we are doing. Okay, so only change is here we are not providing any variable values, I mean client id value, right? So client is having some value, so that things we are not providing here. Instead of that, we are separating this variable names and this value names into two files. One is variables.tf and one more thing is terraform.tf files. Okay, and if you want to display some output, we're going with output.tf files basically. Okay, so just I'm closing this all files. So just copy these files. Here we need to change this values, right? So what is the client ID? Next, what is the client secret? Tenant ID. Subscription ID. Right? Control S save. That's it. Remaining thing is fine. Right? So go to this folder. So Terraform version. TerraForm. Okay, so it is outside of this one, right? Outside of Terraform. So I'm deleting this all these things. Anyway, we have destroyed, right? So just copy this one and paste it here. So it should be these files. It should be in Terraform wherever the software we're having. So here we're having Terraform software within the Terraform folders. So we need to all these files we need to have in the same folder wherever this Terraform software exists. So Terraform version. So Terraform init. So what is the next one? Terraform plan. After that, Terraform apply. Enter value as see here. Previously we are not able to get some resource grouping logic test, right? Now we are getting because of this outputs.tf file. Okay. So now go to this here Azure test and virtual networks. Same thing, my VNet and virtual machines, my VM. So this is the not file, right? Where is this one? I think we did not provide SSH key, right? So that is the problem. I think here SSH key is different. So this one is different, right? See here, this is something 127 lost. This one is different. That is the reason we are unable to authenticate, and even it is Azure user, right? Not a Shiva one. That is a problem. Okay. So same thing. So just here you need to modify this one. I mean, what I mean to say is this SSH key on this username. What are the username you want basically? Okay. So then same thing. If you want to destroy, so Terraform destroy. So destroying basically it is going to take some time irrespective of the remaining comments. Okay. Yes. So it is done, right? And here try to delete these things as well. That is Azure Active Directory. Go to app registrations. Click on the registration. What are the registrations which are created? Delete. So it is deleted in all applications and owned applications, but not in deleted applications. Just select here, delete permanently. Okay, you can cross check it once again. Go to Azure Active Directories, app registrations. We don't have anything. So check it in role assignments. Roles. So this one is basically we have assigned this TerraForm, right? So still, if you want, you can remove this one as well. So any doubts, any of you? Narsimha, Jagdish, Ramesh.
No sure. We'll practice and let you.
Okay.
No, sure.
Today just I'm stopping here.